Hey people, I'm done with one of these planters. The other one got burning too wild. I'll have to work on it, do something with it. I got a total of about 8 days burning on this. It burnt for 3 and rained for a couple and dried for a day and burnt for a couple and rained some more. I put it over here by what I call a Japanese lily. I'm not real sure. They're fixing to bloom. They always bloom on Mother's Day. You can see a flower here tucked in, just fixing to come out. And I know this soil's real acidic over here. I got these huckleberries growing over here too, and they're real good. They're sweet. So I'm going to put some of this pine straw that I dug out the gutters and sprinkle some of that powdered lime on it, because I know it's real acidic. Then I'll put some soil up in there and top it off with some good pot soil and put some seeds directly in it. And I think I'll put some cantaloupe in there and some golden peppers and crimson sweet watermelon and a couple of them mammoth sunflowers on each end. And I hope this gives my lizards a safe place to roost. I noticed they're all missing a tail now. It looks like the neighbor's chicken's been chasing. And here's some of these yellow roses come in. The yellow rose of Texas. Nobody knows what that is, but it's actually a cactus bloom. And this will turn into a red fruit underneath it. And some people make jams out of them. It's a lot of work. I'd rather just eat the leaf. But yeah, this is one that's been blown, and now it's going to turn into the fruit. And then it'll just grow into another leaf. So my grandma once told me, she said, you know, your grandpa Pichu, you know, he named all your brothers and sisters. It was a longer story, but all my brothers and sisters have got French names. You know, Jean-Pierre, Jacques-Paul, Monique Louise. And she says, Denny Edward, I don't know who the hell named you. So I asked my mom a couple years ago, who named me? And she couldn't give me an answer. I don't know if she didn't know or didn't want to. And I asked the older sister that was there when I was born, and she couldn't answer me either. But a Denny is a follower of Dionysus. It's the same without the S, a Denny. A D-N-N-Y, same thing, a Denise. We're all followers of the Lord of Wine, drunk and sex and partying. Maybe my mom knew this, and that's why she didn't want to tell me. But it's the same as Bacchus. It's who we party at Mardi Gras. That's who we're celebrating. God of buzzing, scuzzing, and cousin. So you know Moses was a Denny. They try to say he wasn't before, but you know, they say and began to be Noah, a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. You know, that's the first thing he did when he got off the boat. Everybody else just got off the boat in front of him, and they went to populate the earth, and Moses planted a vineyard and drank the wine and become drunk, and he was uncovered within his tent. So I've been showing in past several movies, I've been showing some proofs of why I read this a VA is a DE, and this is a Denny Enin. And this is the first time this comes up like this. I comes 178 times here and in 9. Oh, Denny Any. And I believe this reads as a NN. EN, the second N reads as I, and I believe the I following a double consonant. You know, the second consonant turns into I, and so I believe that the I turns into the consonant again. And so it's a ENIN. Is a NN and means most. And you can see why they would write like this. When you're reading it with the marks and this reads backwards, you know, this becomes a double N and Y stimmin. And then the N and the I change place to stimmin in and yay in. And so it changes the place of the N and the I when you're reading it backwards here. And then they go back to place when you're reading it back this way. You know, a Denny is short for a Denian. a follower of Dionysus, and a Denian in is a follower of Dionysus most, as in most of, because he was also the god of fertility and wine and homosexuality and theater and all kind of stuff. And so this is why the covenant of the flood is the flag of the rainbow. It's the LGBT. You know, a Denian, a follower of Dionysus from Via, and brings the emble in alerts, the sign of the covenant, the rainbow. And so the bull, that's a symbol of Dionysus. The bull, panther, tiger, lion, goat, snake, and leopard. The thyris, grapevine, ivy. The ivy is, it can run up, it can conquer over anything. It's supposed to be the strongest. And they believe that was the cure for a hangover. A theatrical mass and a phallus. And his festival was the Bacchanalia, the festival of Bacchus. That's when everybody goes out and gets naked at Mardi Gras and gets drunk. Has a big orgy, Bacchus. And so that's what Ham told his two brothers. He told his two brothers, Bacchus. You know, Daddy done got drunk and he's naked over there worshiping Bacchus. So I'm going to read all this with the marks. So I'm going to read the A words forwards. And any double letters followed by the I, I'm going to switch the order of them. The AE becomes the ES. And I believe the OBD really is a ORD. And I noticed it when I was reading in my older Bible. The OB looks a whole lot like an R, and it means to serve. And so a Lord would be to serve, Lord. And I believe this is a orderdom, a servant of servants, the orderdom. So I'm going to read, anytime I see a OBD, I'm going to read the B as an R in there. And when the Vav is followed by the A, the A's become the E, and the Vav becomes a T or a D. So I'm going to read these couple lines here, and then I'll come back and explain some of the words you might not know. But this is a wide chillin' chase. Why chillin' chase had me with the creme. Why stimmin' in in. Why screw it, gal, into castle. Where come a vicken on, at whore what of a wife, the double vav, VVI becomes a vav, I vav, a wife godless in which achieve Bacchus. A wifesome whiffed, a tellum's the smell, who ism to all makes come sign 'em. Why lick a teacher in it, why kissed it, whore what of them. Upon 'em mature in it, war what of them ne'er of. Why a fixin' cummy in wife do, at hazard is as hell of in a wicket in. Why Homer are workin' on orderdom, ye'll achieve. So a chase, the chais, a chase is a little two-seater cart, one axle cart, pull behind one horse. Your little sportster, go out and chase the chicks. And why chillin'? Yes, when you're drinking and chillin' and chasing girls. And why chillin' chase had me with a creme, with a vineyard. I have a vineyard, and I'm out there chillin' and chasing. Had me with the creme. Why stemmin' You know, when you drink wine, you drink it out of a stemmed glass called stemming. And we was chillin' and chasing and stemming. And why stemming in yay is what I want to be doing. Yay and liking it in. Who a screw, SKRW, a screw it gal into Kessel. And so that's written like that because the A word reads backwards when you read it the other way, and then it's in took the Leah, and a Leah is a grassland, a meadow, you know, and the screw it gal in took to the meadow. But here it's into castle, as you're in your castle, your tent, but it's also a castle, a dummy. And the screw it gal into castle were come a vickin' on, you know, throwing everybody else out, a vickin' on at the whore what of he, a wive, you know, WIVE, a wife, and a godless in is also a godel. Godel is to screw. Who godels in, and which and achieve Bacchus. You know, you high and screwing, high and naked and screwing, achieve Bacchus. And your wife, you know, your wife is who fuck. And the wife some whiff, W-I-F-T, smelled of. A whiffed a tellums the smell. And that's always when they tore off their clothes, is because they were stinky. The smell who is and all makes come a sin, you know, a sin when two of them together, a sin them, and all makes come a sin them, who lick. And then the vav followed by the A, you know, is turning into a D or a T. And the T-E-C-H-R, the teacher in it who kissed, you know, followed by the A. Y, meaning how or who, and how kissed. And who kissed it whore, what of he them, you know, of he, father, them. Upon maturing, you know, maturing it, you know, and as it come along, not backwards, but upon maturing it, a war what, you know, it's the same, the whore what, but now it's what she's wearing, the war what of the them. And you know, a abbey, that's a winery. And what of he them ne'er, the L followed by the A, where it is an N, a ne'er of, and war what of he them ne'er of, with no clothes on, nakedness, and war what of he ne'er of. This isn't nakedness, the whole thing together. You know, this is ne'er of, and the war what. And who affix? Affix is usually the end. It's the end of a rope, you know, to fix the loose ends. And why affix in a come you know, come he in a wive, W-I-V. Those change places after, you know, double vowels. Come he a wive do. It has her is as, and who backwards. I believe I read that as a hail before. As who, and then love and wicked, a wicked in. Who loving a wicked in. And why Homer? Homer is the rule. And who rule are working on orderdom. You know, somebody who's in your employment. and who rule our work and unordered 'em. Yea, I would be happy to see it, a yea in, the L followed by A, yea in achieve. Would be happy to see it done, yea and achieve. So I stopped reading here in Genesis 6:12 in that last movie, and Noah builds the ark, and I thought that would help to understand this better when I read this. Here you see, to fix the end, but it's to fix the colors, and so the colors of the writing have meaning. That you have to read the colors too. You don't just read the words. You have to read the colors of the words. As I was telling Lucas, she always sends me a secret message in code here, and I always have to put my other glasses on and blow it up to read it. But a green heart, isn't just the love. The LB is the heart, but the green, is the color of life, the chi. And so it's a CHI, the green, and a LV, which is a chillin'. You can see it here in King Tut's tomb. This is Bobby, the teacher of the writing, teacher of language. And you can see the old language and the new language is in the black and the old is in the red. And sometimes they're the same, but sometimes it changes. And so you see that a lot here where it talks about to fix the colors in serve all upon, and see the all menace here comes from place them. So that's the next movie. I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.